Hey guys, it's Annabelle. So I have been MIA for almost a month now from YouTube, and I do apologize. We have been incredibly busy. So I just haven't had like a sufficient amount of time to get a good video up for you guys. But I am kid and husband free this evening, so I'm finally getting a chance to do this video. This is going to be a video on all the questions that I've gotten over the last 3 months. I know some of you have been waiting forever, and I do apologize, but I'm going to try to answer these in a nice order so it kind of all flows nicely together for you. But if you have any additional questions or comments, please leave them below and I will address them in another video if you would like, or anything you wish. So this video is going to be on all the questions that I've gotten on breastfeeding, nursing, breast milk storage, schedule, and just all of that. Just a real quick note here, we are almost finished with pumping. My son actually stopped nursing quite a while ago. It was quite a few weeks ago he stopped nursing altogether. We've just been on the go, and we've been gone at night, and we've been like busy in the morning, so he does not nurse any longer. So these are going to be kind of answering questions about how everything kind of looked a couple months ago. So, and just right now I am just starting to finish up pumping, and within the week I should be no longer pumping any longer. But I will do a like breastfeeding like finale kind of video for my son here as soon as everything is done and over with and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so really quickly trying to get to all of these questions, and again, I do apologize that these are so incredibly late. Okay, so what my pumping routine looked like and how I started. My son was exclusively nursing for the first 4 to 5 weeks of his life, and then we started to transition him onto a bottle during the day, and we were fortunate enough to have him still nurse at night, overnight, and in the morning. And so we have adjusted that schedule and routine to what he has wanted, what he has needed. So when he stopped waking up in the middle of the night, he just wasn't nursing anymore at night. Or like during the night. So he was nursing before he went to bed and in the morning, and then I was pumping during the day. So how my schedule looked like for pumping in the beginning and how I started pumping was just pumping for short amount of times, like 10 minutes at a time, and doing it every 2 to 3 hours in the beginning to try to get my supply up. And a big thing with building up your supply is consistency. So you want to have a like scheduled time. It doesn't have to be like super strict once you're established, but in the beginning, it has always worked out with my daughter and with my son to be very consistent. So if you're gonna pump every 2 hours, pump every 2 hours. If you're gonna pump every 3 hours, then pump every 3 hours. And then you can slowly move it farther and farther apart as your supply increases and you get where you want to be. So in the beginning, we just pumped, I pumped every 3 hours for about 10 minutes, and my supply slowly started to build. And so then I just went by what my body was telling me, and it came to the point where once I stretched it out to every 4 hours, that I needed to pump for 15 minutes. And then my supply kind of stabilized where it was at, with pumping every 4 hours for like 15 minutes. Some days, if my letdown was like late, some days I would pump for, or like sessions would last maybe 20 minutes. But the longest that I had to pump was about half an hour. And that was just because like my letdown was kind of like screwy, for a little bit there. So if I was ever having trouble, I just pumped longer, and you just can tell how long you need to pump by when your letdowns are, and that just takes, like, if you want to document it, if you just want to like see how you feel afterwards, if your breasts feel empty, if they still feel like they have something in there, It also depends on if your child is nursing. Now, to build up your supply while your child is nursing, after your child is done nursing, then you pump after they are done. So your baby is getting what they need, and then if you just pump for a few minutes afterwards, I would suggest that if you are trying to increase your supply that way, that after your baby nurses, that you do anywhere from like 5 to 10 minutes of pumping after they have eaten, and it's just depending on your comfort. If you have like severely sore nipples, you might want to stick with the only 5 minutes. If you're okay, you can go up to 10. It just kind of depends on what your body is telling you. So there was just a couple questions like in there about how we have done things and how we kind of started off. I have found that timing is incredibly important, and consistency is incredibly important to increase your supply or decrease your supply. So when I was doing pumping for my son, we did, again, every like 4 hours. And if depending on if we had something going on, once my supply was established, then you could go like have it be 5 hours or 6 hours. If you have an event you're going to and you just can't get around your pump or anything like that, you can stretch it a little bit and you'll just get a little bit more out the next time. Okay, so another question that I had was if I keep the expressed milk in the fridge and then add to it every time I pump. I don't. I leave one pumping session I put in a bottle and I put it in the fridge, and my next pumping session I put in a different bottle and put it in the fridge, and my next pumping session I put it in a different bottle and put it in the fridge. I do not combine what I pump for each session because the temperature of each one is going to be different. So if you just pumped, it's probably going to be slightly lower than your body temperature due to the fact that it's collecting in the bottles and not like up against your skin where it would be the 98 degrees. So it is slight cooler than your body temperature, but your like pumping session like stash that is in the fridge is what your fridge temperature would be, which is about like 45 degrees depending on what's recommended for your refrigerator. So I don't combine them. I leave them separate, and then what I do is when I go to heat it, I heat what my son is going to eat. So when he was only drinking 3 ounces, I would only heat up, we have a bottle warmer, like a steamer. I would only put 3 ounces in there, and then if I was heating it, and if I had multiple bottles that I had collected milk in that were in the fridge, then I would add that into a bottle to make the equivalent of what he was eating. So the 3 ounces or 4 ounces or 5 ounces. Now he can drink 7, 8, or 9, or even 10 ounces at a time, and he is almost 9 months old. So that is how much I put in a bottle to heat it up. Now, what we do for how much I get out for a pumping session, I am an overproducer, and I think that is due to the fact that I am very consistent and do like the similar intervals in between each of my pump sessions, like every 3 hours or every 4 hours or every 5 hours. And I think that has helped with my supply and everything. The most that I ever got out of a pumping session was 16 ounces. And so that was filling up both 8-ounce bottles full. So I have the 8-ounce Medela collection bottles that I use this time because I learned with my daughter that I would have to stop halfway through my pumping session and switch out the 5-ounce bottles. So this time around for this pregnancy and everything, when I was buying my baby buys, I got the 8-ounce bottles, and that would be for a time like right away in the morning where I would get that much, but usually I would get about 10 ounces per pumping session. And then as I have started to decrease now that we are getting towards the end of pumping and all that kind of stuff, it is getting like less and less and less as I stretch out my time. Now, I did a video on how to decrease your milk supply, so if you want to look back at that video, I talk more about like lessening the time that you pump, but still making sure that you have completely emptied your breasts, and stretching out the time in between you are pumping. Right now, the last time that I pumped was yesterday morning, so it has almost been like if I waited till tomorrow morning, it would be 2 days, but we are ending, so it's been like 18 hours plus is what I was going for now, and then I'm going to stop here in the next week. But that will be in, again, like a finale of like breastfeeding videos. Another question that I got was how long are my pumping sessions? And again, that just depends on how long it takes your breasts to empty. Now, I have had a few friends in the past where they would have one letdown after like a couple minutes of pumping, and then they thought that that was it, and then they were ending up with like clogged ducts and things like that because their breasts weren't emptying fully. So you have to kind of see what your body is telling you. Some people have really late letdowns. I've had that with my daughter and my son, where I've had late letdowns, where I have an initial letdown, I might have another one somewhere in the middle around like 8 minutes, and then I'll have another one closer to that 15-minute point, and it's just a matter of getting all of the milk out so you don't end up with problems. That is one of like the biggest tips that I have. As for like reheating and things like that, I was asked also if you can use the breast milk storage bags as a like drop-ins in a drop-ins bottle. I think you probably could, as long as it fits on there and there's like no leaks or anything like that. I still would not heat the plastic bag up. I would use a, like glass is always best for heating your milk up. That's what we use in our bottle warmer. We have a little like glass cup that we put in our bottle warmer instead of using plastic. But I don't think there would be a problem with putting the milk back in the plastic to use that same bag as a drop-in in one of the drop-in bottles. But I would ask a professional for like that. But if I had those kind of bottles, I would probably consider it. If that helps. Sorry. I have not done drop-ins, so I don't know what those bags are like, if it's like the same thing at all. So if anybody else knows an answer to that question, please leave that below. The most I've collected in one day, the top amount that I've ever gotten in one day of pumping is right over 60 ounces. And that was like absolutely incredible. And that was when I was pumping for my daughter's freezer supply, and that was like amazing. So I was pumping for that day that she was eating, and then I was pumping for 2 additional days. So that's why I was able to stop pumping when she was 5 months old, and we made it all the way until she was 10, 11 months old when we started to transition her onto formula. So that was completely awesome. It was nice to kind of like get it done all at the same time because she wasn't nursing. With my son, I have done the nursing longer because, one, he latched on great. He wanted to nurse. He felt that it was very comforting, and he wanted to do it, and it was a bonding experience for us that I didn't get with my daughter. My daughter only nursed for a short little bit there at the beginning. And okay, well, I covered that one before. Alrighty, I think that is everything. Oh, and another thing, It is recommended that you do not use milk that is over 6 months old in a deep freezer. We do have deep freezes. We have 2 of them, or 2 deep freezers in our basement, and it is recommended not to use milk that is over 6 months old, and that is what I would go with personally. I've had some friends that have tried to go over 6 months with it, and the milk will get like freezer burned, or they're white like patches on them, and I tried to look up some stuff about it for her, and it kind of said where if it doesn't smell bad that it's probably still okay, but I just wouldn't push it. 6 months would be my cutoff, and otherwise, like, just get rid of it if it's over like 6 months old. I know that it's really, really difficult to throw away milk because it's like you worked so hard for that. And you never know what could happen either. Like, we have a significant stash. We have over 400 5-ounce bags in our freezer right now for my son to make it hopefully another 6 months on breast milk, but we will see how that all like happens, because he has increased his amount that he is drinking. He is drinking about 30+ ounces in a day, so that stash is going to go down quite quickly. But my goal with my son was to make it to a year, but again, you never know what was going to happen. My friend actually just went through this where her freezer got left open and all of her milk is now bad, and she has to throw all of it away, and she was just in tears, but there's nothing you can do about it, and you just have to like move on. But the whole thing, like, don't cry over spilled milk, like, that was said by someone who wasn't like pumping or nursing or anything like that. So anyways, I know this is long and I'm so super sorry, but I hope I got everything answered for you guys. If you have any additional questions or comments, please leave them below. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.